All right, so welcome. My name is Carlos Souza. I'm not sure if I already worked with you or not. Eventually, we'll work together because I do a lot of games for Jay. Uh, I'm an instructor for NCSRA. I'm a USSF mentor, and hopefully we can clarify what handling the ball means. So that's the purpose here, and we're going to share this with the coaches, and hopefully they will help us out during the game because they would understand better. So the first thing I want to just show you real quick is what essentially is how you determine an offense, a handball offense. So the upper boundary, and this is on the rule book, the upper boundary of the arm is in line with the bottom of the armpit. So if your ball hits the shoulder on that green part, it's no handball. If to be a handball, you have to hit the arm or the hand. So that is very clear. And I understand that sometimes stuff happens so fast, but the whole idea is you cannot call what you didn't see. If you're not sure how you can call a handball, so you cannot call it. And a coach might come to you and say, "Oh, I saw a handball." I say, "Coach, I'm not saying it was not a handball. I did not see it, and I cannot call what I couldn't see it." So that's the whole idea. But essentially, on the red part, the arm and the hand, is what you consider for a handball. Very important is number two, and that is if you referee any game or if you've been in a game, you will hear this all the time. Every time the ball hits the hand, the handball. No, it is not. So not every touch of a player's hand or arm with the ball is an offense. So be sure to tell the coaches if you are a referee and somebody asks, is the first thing I normally tell a coach, Coach, not every time ball hits the hand, the handball. So you have to go through the considerations. So you're gonna hear from parents because they are not educated yet. But again, tune out that. Make your own decisions based on the considerations. So the next part here is the actual Law 12.1, which is how to determine a handball. So there is these three parts here. Deliberately touch the ball, for example, making a movement and controlling the ball with the hand, making your body unnaturally bigger, and we're gonna see, we'll talk more about it, or if the ball right before score a goal by that player that scored the goal, touch the ball either intentionally or accidentally, but it's the player that scored the goal. The rule change over the years used to be like right before the goal being scored. No, now the rule says the player that scored a goal. So if accidentally the ball hit the hand of somebody, not a handball, and that player passes the ball to a player that scored a goal, it's all fine. But if that player even accidentally touched the ball and scored a goal, then it's illegal. And you call out the goal, and obviously it'll be a goal kick at the very start. All right. There's more details about the goalkeeper being, and I'm going to skip this for the sake of the presentation. But it is, and I recommend you read. But this kind of situation rarely happens, so I want to concentrate the presentation today. With 99% of the time, that happens. So consideration for handling the ball, determining handball offenses, making that body unnaturally bigger. A player is considered to have made the body unnaturally bigger when the position of the hands or arms is not a consequence or justifiable by the player's body movement for that specific situation. And this comes a portion of judgment. The referee has a latitude to make a judgment. Is that unnaturally positioned? It is not. There's no way. We don't have VAR. We don't have like 100 cameras. No, we have only what we saw live, and that's it. So at that point, as a referee, You're gonna make a decision. Was that unnaturally bigger? What is it not? What is that a normal position of the arm? You can have the recurse to talk with your assistant. If your ball hits a hand and you potentially blow up for a penalty kick, it's fine. Go talk to your assistant and discuss the situation, make a decision. If it is a PK, go ahead and call the PK. If you're not, you have to have the guts to be you blow the whistle, so it'll be a drop ball for the goalkeeper. But again, not every touch of the hand is a handball. And there's a portion of judgment on that call because we don't have VAR, we don't have cameras, etc. All right. And every time a player put their hands in a natural way, he's taking a risk. And if the shot comes and hit the hand and it's not natural, then you make the judgment. It is a handball and you call it, and that's it. So again, the burden goes to the player that at the moment when they put their hand in an unnatural way. And we're going to see a few examples also. Okay, so let's continue here. All right, so let's watch this first one here. And I'm going to ask somebody in the audience to tell me if it is a handball or not. So Colin, can you monitor the chat? Maybe they can put on the chat. Can you do that for me? All right. So
sure thing.
All right. So make it simple. We don't have that many people attending, so just put in the chat if it's a handball or not, and we work from there. Okay. All right. So let's play it. All right, very good. So please put in the chat if this is a handball or not, and then Colin can take a look and see on the responses what we have.
Handball.
Okay, very good. Anybody wants to volunteer and tell me why you consider that on a handball? And I'm gonna play here and I'll stop at a better moment here. Let's see. One in slow motion, it'll be better. So it coming in, shot comes. All right, so that's that. That's when he hits the hand. So anyone who wants to volunteer and unmute yourself and tell us why this is a handball? Nobody?
His arm was up in the air by his head.
Exactly. It's not a natural position. You could even claim that he can protect his face and in a different position on the arm, but in this case, he just sent the arm in, and that is exactly what we mentioned before. He's taking a risk. That's why you see a lot of players put their arm behind the back because then they are protecting them against a potential ball hitting their arm. So in this case, I don't understand why he did that, but it's his choice. So that is an easy call. Very good. So let's go to the next one. Let's go this one here. All right, so let's put on the chat if you think it's a handball or not. All right, so what we got, Colin?
So far, we have no handball.
Okay, all right. So anybody that vote for no handball wants to mute yourself and tell me why? And I'll play it again while you get the courage to talk.
It looks like that he's keeping his hand, trying to move it into a position where it's not bigger, making himself bigger. It's like he's trying to pull it in towards his body.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So he tried to kind of avoid the contact. It looks to be that he's trying to avoid the contact with the hand. He turned his back so the ball would not hit his hand. End up hitting his elbow, which is considered part of the arm, based on that picture that we saw at first. And that would be part of the consideration. But I don't think he made himself unnaturally bigger. So these are easy calls. The first one, he kind of stretch his arm. In this one, he kind of try to protect his from a potential handball. Very good. So let's look at this one here. On the replay, it's better to see. So let's put on the chat. What do you think?
Handball.
Very good. So again, please unmute yourself and tell me why you call this a handball. And I'm gonna put it in a better position here, where, okay, let me stop it here. Like that. So, and no takers, nobody wants to mute yourself and tell me why this is a handball?
He's not in a natural position.
That is correct. Who's gonna put the arm up then? I don't understand why he did that, but again, he's taking a risk. And it's very clear that his body is not in normal position. Look at the other players around him. Nobody has this arm up. So I would say this is even worse. In fact, obviously he's not facing the ball, so he doesn't know where the ball is coming. He's just expecting, but it looks like he made a motion for the ball, which is part of the consideration. Very good. So let's go to the next one. About this one here. Let's see. So I'll play it again here from this part. So he touched here, he'll touch his hand. So put on the chart, what do you think?
Got no handball on this one, Carlos.
Okay, so who put no handball and want to tell me why? Let me put the position here. He took a shot, the ball hit his teammate and came back with him and hit right there. So why this is not a handball? That is correct. I'll tell you this, it's correct. So why is not a handball?
It's a natural position, and I don't know if the NC North Carolina has the same rules, but isn't that like one of the Premier League point of emphasis about the ball being deflected or something and hitting the player who can't move out of the way?
Correct. You're absolutely right. And this is part of the IFAB too. There's a clarification on IFAB that, and we're going to see actually some examples here in a minute, but yes, you are correct. In that guy could not do anything. It was so close to him. He had his body on the natural position, and it feels like that he's trying to avoid the contact, even that. So, Anyways, you are correct. That's not a handball. And absolutely all the audience is gonna claim that it's a handball because the ball hits the hand. But again, the emphasis is not every time the ball hits the hand is a handball. Very good. So let's go to the next one here. Again, put it there on the chat, or if you want, I'll be glad to play it and more. But put in the chat what you think on this one. I'll play one more time. The attacker hit the ball, he had it and hit his hand. He did. So what we got, Carl?
Looks like we have no handball here.
No handball. So anyone who wants to unmute yourself and tell me why? I'll put it the image here. Exactly where he hits the ball, right there. Nobody? You can do it again if you are more courage than everybody. It's totally fine. You can unmute yourself and do it one more time. I don't have a problem with that.
It looked like to me that his hand was in a natural position down. He wasn't making himself bigger, and he wasn't making any action towards the ball.
Exactly. And just because the ball, one more time, just because the ball hits the hand is not a handball. He was not taking any movement towards the ball. He was absolutely in a natural position. Very good. So let's go to the next one. This is one detail here. This is just a picture. One detail. There's two components here. One, if the arm is supporting the body and the ball hits the hand, it's not a handball. If you stretch out your arm, like the arm up top, it's not supporting the body, it's not in a natural position. So that would be a handball. So I want you guys to keep this in mind, that if a player is like putting the arm to protect himself from the ground, like he's doing right now, that's not a handball. But the arm at the top, if the ball hits the hand, it's not supporting. It is a handball because it's not in a natural position. So that is very, very important for your consideration when you call a handball or not. So let's go to the next one here, which is, we'll see in a sec. In this particular case, so let's put on the chat, is this a handball or not? So what we got?
Looks like we have handball here.
Yeah, somebody wants to unmute and tell me why is a handball?
He's not supporting his body and it's just extended out in a non-proper position.
Exactly. Both arms, if they had the other arm, I would say that that's like a save almost in both cases. Both arms are kind of standing. It should not be doing this. And I agree. And you're gonna hear from players that said, "Oh, I did not try to." Yes, you did. Maybe he did not try it, but it is part of the consideration. So if you extend your arm like this, you're taking a risk. And that is something that you have to kind of address with the player. Say, I'm sorry, but if you extend your arm in a unnaturally position, a naturally way, you are taking a risk. If you are supporting your body, then it's a different story. But you are 100% correct. He's not supporting his body in that situation. With his tough, and you're gonna see situations where it's tough because what do I do with my arm? The player is gonna tell you with that, I'm sorry, I have to follow the considerations because they will claim that. And actually, I have empathy, and that's something that you as a referee should have for the players. You should understand the position of the player. Every time I make a call, I think myself as the player, what I would expect to that call or what I would see of that call. And this is the same thing. Maybe he didn't want to put their hand on the ball. They didn't want to block the ball like this case here. But again, show the empathy. Said, I'm sorry. I know maybe you did not have the intention, but I have to follow the considerations, and your arm was extending, and that is not natural, and I have to call a handball. That would help you with that player because they don't think that you are after him, that sort of thing. Okay? All right, so let's go to the next one here. This is another situation that you have to take in consideration. Let's put in the chat if this is a handball or not. This is one case, and this is a similar case. And I'll play it back here to the point that she's hitting. She hit the ball. She mishit the ball. And the ball goes up. It evidently hit the hand. So what do we got?
We're saying handball.
Okay, that's very good. And again, there's never a wrong answer. We want to hear from you. If the player hit the ball in a situation like this, it's not a handball. That's an accident. It came from him. He miskicked the ball. And that's the judgment part that you're going to have to use it. Obviously, if that close like this, she have no control. But if the player kicks the ball and have plenty of time to do something else and goes there and deviate the ball, so intentionally stop the ball, then it'd be a handball. It will be a different story. But in both cases, and I'm going to play it again so you can see it. Let me play it again. That this will not be a handball. The hand on the ball to do something about it, like stop a promising attack, or no, it was totally accident right after her. So if the player touches the ball and goes right into their hand, like in both cases here, it is not a handball. One more time, not all the time the ball hits the hand is a handball.
Hey,
So
Carlos, I got a
Mhm.
comment
Go ahead.
about this situation. I was having a game, one night this week, and I was having a good conversation with the referee crew that I was with, which that's a whole nother story, that you should have conversations about things happening in your game at halftime and at the end of the game, just to learn. We're all learning. And we were talking about this exact situation. In both of these clips, it was the defender that hit the ball and it hit their arm.
Uh-huh.
And what if it's an attacker, 30 yards or inside to goal, and they hit it and it hits their arm, and they're in a potential opportunity to take a shot or, within a reasonable amount of space to the goal to have a scoring opportunity. That is another consideration.
That is an excellent question. That was about to say. If this is a defender, it's not a handball. If this is an attacker, it's a handball. That would be my next sentence. So you just stole it. But that's
Oh,
good.
I'm so sorry, Carlos.
That's good. I like it because you had the exactly point that I wanted to make, which is the defender, which is both cases here, it's not a handball. When is an attacker, it is a handball. So it's different, and it's part of the consideration published by, it's kind of a clarification published by IFI. So very, very good.
Now,
Carlos.
just to clarify that a little more in detail,
Mhm.
so you're telling me if it's an attacker and they're not necessarily in proximity to taking a shot, say midfield, then if they mishit it and it hits their hand, are you enforcing that even though it's
I understand. It's a very good question. So he just crossed the line, right? And did this,
right?
right? So is that in an opportunity to score a goal? I don't think so. So I would say it's not a handball. But it's a very good question. So when this transform into a potential attacker that can score a goal? So I think that's the why you make the judgment. On the midfielder, just cross the line and something like that happens. In my perspective, it's not a handball. I don't have it written this, and I'll take a look and see if I can find it. I can even ask IFAB that question and see what they say about it, and I'll get back to you guys. But yes, I would say at the moment I would not call a handball because this is an accident. But inside the penalty area, like this case here, if that player was an attacker, I'll blow the whistle. So my judgment would be more less lenient. Let's put that way. A defender, no handball, but he is an attacker inside the penalty area, I'll blow the whistle because that's quite clear. But I'll find an answer for that question about crossing the midfield and get back to you guys. Fair enough?
Perfect. Thank you, Carlos.
All right. Very good. So, Colin, you mentioned anything? Do you want to add something?
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you and to Jay as well.
Mhm.
In a recreational match, this exact scenario happens. What would you tell the referee on actually selling this decision?
Very good. I would say that, if you cover by the considerations, so use the consideration, which is not every touch on a ball is a handball. If it happens with a defender, this is not considered a handball. If that was an attacker inside the penalty area, that is considered a handball. And then you explain to them all three things. Not every touch is a handball. As a defender, it's not a handball. If as an attacker, it is a handball. These are covered by the considerations. And that's what made my judgment to blow for a handball coming out or not blow because it was the defender. Blow the whistle. Make sense?
Good, good.
All right, very good. Very good questions. So let's go to the next one here. So this is a very important, the example I'm gonna show you here. And I wanted you guys to know if it's a handball or not. So let's look. I'm gonna pull it back just a little so you can see better here. Let's see. We all can see that the ball touched his hand. So is this a handball? So put on the chat and see what your opinion.
Looks like we have yes, handball.
Yeah, here we have two, that's correct. So here there's two components. One is you cannot score a goal off your hand. Like if intentionally, or in this case, I think it's unintentionally. You did not want to put his hand on the ball. So theoretically, it's an accident. However, you cannot score a goal. The question that Jay had before is what happened if that player kind of controlled the ball or the ball goes to the side, would you call a handball? I said yes, because that's an attacker. But in this case, the ball ended up going into the goal. Then is the second component. You cannot score a goal with your hand, either intentionally or unintentionally. So that's the point on this here. Obviously, it's very hard. I would say in a normal game that we have here, where we don't have VAR cameras, etc., go talk to your assistant. You might have a better angle than you do. Don't rush on decisions. We don't have to restart the game immediately after a goal. Process the whole information. That's something that if you work with me, you're going to hear many, many times, which is every time you make a decision, process. Get all the components that you can get. And if you're not enough from yourself, go to your assistant and ask for help. It is okay. I asked my assistant, even though I might have more experience than my assistant, but he had a better angle. So you got to be, sure about your call. You want to get it right. So in this particular case, the ball hit the hand, go inside, not a goal. All right, very good. So let's go to the next one. Before I go, any questions on this? All right, very good. So let's go to the next one. This is the last one, the last clip that I have today. And that's why with the handballs, you can have a dog so denial obvious goal scoring opportunity. Let's see what happened on this one here. All right, so anybody has any doubt that this is a handball? Cannot be more handball than this. He jumped and avoided a goal. So let me stop it at the right moment here. The guy had the ball. And had the ball towards the goal. That ball is going to go in. It passed the keeper, passed one defender, and then Suarez in the back slapped the ball away. The defender tried to make a save too, but he missed. And then Suarez on the back. So clearly is a handball. He made a motion for the handball. And again, you have to have the guts. In the situation like that happens in your game, I'm sorry, but you have to give a red card to the play. And sometimes it's hard to give a red card on the rec game, but unfortunately, that's the case. Your hands are tied. And you call a dog so, and all the components for dog so with hands are there. So it is a red card. They gave it. They end up working out for Uruguay because the guy missed the PK, and they end up going to extra time and get the shootout, and the Uruguay won this game against Ghana. But anyways, any doubts on this one here? Any questions on this one? Is this the last clip? So what I want you to have in mind after the clips we saw, not every time the ball hits the hand, it's a handball. So let me finish it up and go to the next.
I do have a comment on that one.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you go back to the clip?
Absolutely, absolutely. So you want to play it again?
Yeah, I want people to think about, where is the referee?
Very good. So you want to see, where is the referee? The referee? Yeah. Okay, let me go back here. He is inside the penalty area. Look at that. And if you notice, he is on the left side, so you have a better angle. He could be even closer. I wouldn't mind if he'd be closer, but then you risk to get hit by the ball.
I would like to see him 5 yards closer to the far touch.
Mhm.
Cause
Yeah,
I see so many times a referee be straight in line with the attack. And there's so many players that you can not see clearly what's going on. So in this situation, I mean, he obviously saw it, but there were two blue players, and I couldn't tell if one was behind the other one. But if that referee was straight on it, like if he was 5 or 10 yards to the right of where he's standing now, I think he would be blinded by a lot
correct.
of players.
That
So
is correct.
I
So,
just wanted to make a point here.
yeah,
When you got that many players in the box, a lot of things happening, I would like to see that referee another 5 steps further to his left, which would have had a very clear picture of what happened. So don't get in behind play. Make sure when you got that much stuff going on in the box, don't be up at the top, be far left. Yeah, where your cursor is right now. I would
yeah.
like to see that referee
You
there.
want him around here, right?
Yeah,
Maybe a little more in and more to the left.
yes.
Makes total sense because you have a better angle. And one thing that you gotta get used to is be mobile when something happens in the penalty area. So if your angle it's not good, anticipate where the ball going to go. Because let's say the guy hit the ball here, the ball went to the left, and so you might be covered by the players. I'm going to stop and show what I meant. Let me stop here. Oh, sorry. Let me go back, and I'll show you what I meant. So maybe he wasn't a good angle to see this contact with the player, but then when the play continued and go inside here, maybe he can come one step in to see that angle. Then the ball goes out. Then he might be able to be blocked by the number 15 and the other player from Uruguay in front. So he does what Jay's suggesting, which is going a little bit to the left so he can see it. And in that case, not only he going to see what's going to happen, but he's going to see Suarez in a better position and then see the handball. Very good. Is that sufficient, Jay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, very good. Any questions regarding handball? Anything that you've seen or you wanted to know in a particular situation? That's a good opportunity to clarify.
Carlos, can you apply advantage on a handball?
Yes, we can apply advantage. And I would say this, that's a very good question. Every time it gets closer to the goal, take your time with the whistle. See if the problem resolves itself. For example, let's say Suarez hit the ball with the hand, goes to the foot of a player from Ghana, and that player scores a goal. The problem is resolved. Look how you might give a yellow card for Suarez for trying to stop the ball. I will support that 100%. However, you don't have to pull a red card and create the whole thing that comes around because the goal was scored on advantage. So that's a very good question. Yes, handballs and fouls are at the same level for an advantage. But the point I want to make is the closer you get to the goal, the longer to blow the whistle. Somebody commit a PK for a handball or a foul or whatever. And there is a possibility that play continue and score a goal, let them score and resolve the problem. All right? Very
Along
good.
those same lines, I've seen referees blow the whistle, the ball go in the back of the net, and now they're trying to decide, oh, can that goal stand? And once you blow the whistle, it is dead. You can't, anything that happens after a whistle, You cannot let that play continue. So good point, Carlos. Hold that whistle, see if that score occurs, because you can always, blow the foul. But hold the whistle, wait, because once you blow the whistle, it's dead. It's stopped. So you cannot accept a goal after a whistle, even immediately after.
Exactly. And it resolves your problem. If they score a goal, it's resolved. If they don't score a goal, blow the whistle and call the PK. But if you blow the whistle prematurely, it's going to be a PK. And then the goalkeeper saved. And then you have now everybody hates you because they hate you because you call the PK. They hate you because the goalkeeper saved the PK. So take your time. When the ball gets closer to the goal, take your time to evaluate the situation. Again, process everything, then blow the whistle. Very good. Anything you want to add? Or any questions regarding handball? I don't expect to answer all the questions about handball with this particular presentation. I just want to cover the main situations. And obviously there are other situations, but I want to concentrate on the more common situations, which is make your body bigger. Not every time the ball hits the hand is a handball.
I'll bring up a situation that happens a lot in U8, U10, U12, especially with female players. If the ball's coming at them, a lot of them will put their hand up, maybe in front of their face or in front of their body to protect themselves. That's not really a natural position. So, you got any words of advice on that situation?
Yeah, that is especially after a period of time where that was acceptable. Unfortunately, it's not anymore. So if the player protects their face, and you're gonna hear about it, still not a natural position. It's not the position of the movement. In this case, the player moved their hands towards the ball. And unfortunately, it is a handball by the current considerations. I personally don't like it, but that's the way it is. Especially
So
on the right
if
hand.
their hands are up against their body, I would not go handling there, just because, I mean, they're not playing the ball with their hand. Their hands are up against their body. But yeah, if your hands are up here and you're protecting your face, but their hands are still going to ball, that's
Yeah.
kind of how I think about it. Are the hands going to ball, or are the hands up against the body when the contact with the ball hits the hand?
And if you think about it, what normally happens is the shot comes, the player say, oh, this is gonna hit my face. And then he moves the hand to protect the face. In my opinion, my personal opinion, that should not be a handball. However, under the current considerations, that player make a movement with their hands towards the ball. It is to protect, I understand that, but he make a movement. So your hands are tied. Unfortunately, it is. It's a good question.
Well, Carlos, thanks a lot for putting this together. Sorry I came in a
That's
little bit
okay.
late. I was having some internet issues, and but appreciate you jumping on in and heading on with it. So we have a lot of new people this week compared to last week. I think it was a whole different group, except for one person in the audience. So I'm just going to open it up. Last week we did talk about enabling sharing. How do you get messages from Arbiter on your phone? Those two things specifically are settings that you as a referee has to enable if you would like. I can show you that. I did want to talk just briefly about youth referees and referees in general handling verbal abuse or verbal comments from coaches or parents. We've had some situations over the last couple of weeks where things around those lines have happened. And it is something that we need to act on as a referee. If we let verbal abuse continue, then they will continue, right? We have to stop coaches and parents, and if they're players that are crossing the line with comments, we need to take care of that. And the things that I want you to think about, the 3 Ps that used to be asked to remove, but now the comments, if they're are personal, if there's a direct comment personally at you, or provocative, sarcastic, like you're an idiot, or things along that line, or if it's public, if it's very loud and everybody can hear a coach or a parent yelling at you publicly, then we need to take care of that and handle that. And just to be clear, nobody wants you sending a parent away. You want the coach to take care of that. So you go over to the coach very politely the first time, hey, you've got to go talk to your parents, tell them to stop making comments at me. They're here to cheer for their team. And it's that responsibility of that coach to take care of their parents. And do not start the game until that has happened. That coach goes over, talks to those parents. Hey, we have to stop. And, you do not have to start that game back until that has occurred, if you ask that coach to do that. If it's the coach, I wouldn't send him away the first time unless it's very, very bad, but definitely caution the coach. That normally will stop it. But if it continues, then feel free to send them away.
Can I add a couple things? One,
Please do.
when you caution the coach, tell the coach, do you understand that the next card you're out, no matter what? A second yellow is a red, and you have to leave. So I'll make that point when every time I give a card to a coach, I'll make that point. So one, he's not going to be surprised if he send off, and he's going to be sent off for something simple. He cannot claim, oh, but it was the same thing with the other one. Yes, that's why you get a second yellow and you out of here. So that's one point. Second is you're going to find a lot of resistance from the audience and from the coaches to restart the game. So be firm about it. Don't accept the coach shout from the other side. I wait until the coach crosses the field and talk with the parents, because that is completely different than a coach shouting from the other side, hey guys, be quiet. No, it's not good enough. So you got to go there and tell them to kind of stop or just cheer for the team, whatever they want to say, but show that you have the control of the game. If they just shout and you start the game right away, there is no effect, I guarantee you. So stop the game and make the coach go all the way to the parents, cross the field to tell them to calm down or just cheer for the team, whatever they want to say. So that's the 2 points I want to make.
Yep. And I would definitely, as a youth referee, 14, 15, 16-year-old, I understand that is a very difficult thing to approach an adult that is not being an adult, but they are an adult, that you have to take that authoritative position and say, yes, you will do this. So one of our FIFA referees in North Carolina, I will never forget what she told me when she came to Wake Tech and did a refereeing clinic back in the day. She said she would get in her back room and she would practice what she was going to say, rehearse, because in the moment, it is, I mean, anxiety, and I mean, it's a tough position to be in. I mean, none of us like to, have to deal with that confrontation. So practice what you're going to say to a coach and just be firm about it. They're not going to agree with you. They're going to ask you why you're missing all the calls. They're going to say, hey, you're calling it one way and not the other. I mean, it's a million things that they say, but don't have that conversation. You just tell them you will not make comments to the referee and crew, period. That's all you got to do. And then walk away. Do not get in an agreement, an argument with them. They're not going to agree with anything that you have to say. You have to be firm and just tell them you will stop the behavior. Yes, George.
I was gonna say, and I officiate a different sport, but I always tell the coaches that they're there to coach the players, not to coach the officials. So that's a simple way to remind them that their unsolicited feedback is not welcome. And I would just
Will
leave it
not
at
be
that. And that was their
tolerated.
kind of their verbal warning, right? Like I'm not here to hear you coach me. I got it.
Right.
So
Yeah, whatever line along those lines you feel comfortable with that gets the point across, it's fine. Show the yellow card. Show the yellow card, and they'll normally stop. If not, then show them the second yellow or straight red, but just show them the red and do not start the game till they are gone. Another thing, if you give a red card, you have to call me. You have to text me. I have to know. That situation has happened in the last 2 weeks. I had a referee send a coach away, and I did not know until like a week later. So I will support you, but I need to know so I can support you with the legs that it happens.
Jay, that coach is sent off and there's no assistant coach or anyone else there. Are we restarting?
And in the recreation leagues,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You just go, hey, get a parent over here to coach this team. As long as the coach leaves. If the coach doesn't leave or if the coach goes over and starts mingling with the parents, do not start that game. That coach has to leave the site.
It's sight
And
and
if
sound.
if their kid is playing and there's no other parent there, that kid is going to go with that coach. So that if you send a coach, they have to leave the site. Get a parent over to finish out the game.
And one more thing I would like to add. AR, do not take abuse. If you get abused for any reason, stop the game, put your flag up. The referee is going to see it, or call the referee if he doesn't see your flag. Ask him, the referee, to approach you and tell him what happens and ask him to resolve the situation. No matter what level it is, do not take abuse. We are not in this job to be abused by any reason, period. So don't, the foul, no, yeah, I'll let it go because this parent or the coach, and no, talk to your referee and tell him what is happening and ask him to resolve the situation, because we cannot afford being abused, period.
Well, anybody have questions?
Anchor your nets, guys, when you go out to do games, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told the story last week. I can tell it again. This is a state level referee. We're doing a U16 match. I wasn't actually on it. I heard about it. And it's kind of a little bit of a windy day. And the goalkeeper was about, he was fairly close to the top of the 18. The ball was out in midfield. And the big goal blew over and landed right behind him on the ground with a big boom. Everybody turned to look, and it was not anchored. If it had hit that kid in the back of the head, he would be gone. So make sure that the goals are anchored. We see it over and over and over and over and over. You know, now with fields transitioning from 9v9 to 11v11, back to 9v9, back to 11v11. These goals are not being anchored, and don't ever let something happen on your game because a goal is not anchored. An injury, we just cannot have it. So thank you, Colin, for bringing that up.
Right.
All right, well, again, Carlos, thanks for putting those clips together. I know it's one of the most misunderstood parts of the game right now, especially from spectator point of view.
Yeah.
So I hope we can send this recording over to especially our recreation programs. Maybe it can get in the inboxes of our coaches so that they can understand some of the considerations in calling it or not calling it. Okay, David, that's a good question. Is there another session? We do have one scheduled for October 13th. It is not going to be virtual. It is going to be at Womble Park. And I really need to know who's coming there. I have 3 thus far that have told me they're coming because I'm going to serve barbecue sandwiches. So if you show up, you'll get a barbecue sandwich to eat. That will, well, we're still planning that event still, but it will be at Womble Park, 7 to I think 8:15. And yeah, we'd love to see you.
On October 13th, right?
October 13th. October
Okay, very
13th.
good. And if anyone wants a topic to be covered, please send a message to Jay. So you have his information. So send him, oh, I want to know about a good example, throw-ins. Every time you reverse a throw-in, the next throw-in, which is the other team, has to do a good throw-in. If it is a bad, call it again, reverse again. You gotta be fair. This is very, very important. It looks like that you're not calling both ways. So when you do that, so you reverse because the guy did a jump shot, for example. Fine. The next one needs to be perfect, or you reverse again. That will bring a lot of confidence to the parents and coaches and players on your work. So this is just an example of a topic. If you want to cover throw-ins or anything else that you want to, send a message to Jay, and we'll put together another presentation.